and welcome to this week's edition of KIKAO, your weekly interactive agricultural program focusing on the big issues facing that sector on the African continent. And in a short while, we'll be having that conversation with experts on just what is the role of science, technology, and innovation in improving agriculture and food security. My name is Joe Agayo. First, let's set the stage for you with a cross-section of views from around Africa.
The cost of farming imeenda juu kwa sababu ya mbolea. Na sisi kama farmers hakuna pesa yenye tumetengewa kando kama wakulima. Mpaka wewe ujikaze na pesa yako mwenyewe. Na mbolea sahi the cheapest unanunua DAP na 6,300.
We don't have extension officers from the government, ama the county, ama the national government ambao anatupatia mawaida.
Kuna wakati tuliahidiwa watakuja kututembelea ili waangalie udongo, hiyo mchanga yetu iko na acid mingi sana, kwa hivyo haiendi pamoja na ile mimea tunapanda.
90 kg of maize is weighing around to 4,000, which is it will be very hard for so many people to buy.
We need to shift away from the traditional farmers kind of methods of farming, and then again we need to empower those farmers with modern technologies.
We know what we have. We know what we lack. We should streamline our research activity towards what we lack so that to get what we want.
We need a socio-economic transformation of our countries by increasing productivity, by processing to add value, and to create jobs for youth and also for women.
Let's now join Dr. Canisius Kanangire, the Executive Director of AATF, with this panel of the week discussing the place of science, technology, and innovation in agriculture here in Africa.
Agriculture is the main economic activity for several countries in Sub-Saharan Africa. The sector contributes about 15% of the total gross domestic product of the continent. Across Africa, the agricultural sector is expanding very rapidly to meet the increasing demand for food and good nutrition. Various studies have demonstrated that science, technology, and innovation hold great potential in increasing the productivity and prosperity of farmers in Africa. But progress in translating innovative products into real impact at the farmers level has been relatively slow, resulting in persistence of poverty and food insecurity on the continent. With over 82% of the African population living in rural areas and wholly dependent on agriculture, the continent has no choice but to accelerate the adoption of such innovative technologies in order to transform its agriculture. On KIKAO, I will be speaking to policymakers, experts, and practitioners on the state of technology and innovation on the continent and how to accelerate progress. I'm Dr. Canisius Kanangire, the Executive Director of AATF, and my guests here today are Dr. Martin Bwalia, the Director of AUDA NEPAD, and Dr. Francis Nangayo, who is the Head of Regulatory Affairs at AATF. When we talk of agriculture, commitment, declarations, decisions have been taken to improve agriculture on the continent, to try and reach food security and improve nutrition of Africans. Where do we stand today when you look at the status of agriculture and the provision of food security on the continent?
I think it's good to start by saying that there is obviously massive progress from where we were, say, 3-4 decades ago. But again, the dissatisfaction comes from the fact that we definitely could have done far, far better than where we are in terms of agricultural performance, in terms of the value of agriculture, and even sometimes our mindset and understanding of why agriculture, what is agriculture. You did mention that a lot of our communities, especially in rural areas, are deriving livelihood 100% on agriculture, and we call it like that. You also did mention the issue of agriculture contribution to GDP. Probably that's where we need to stand. What do we mean by agriculture? What are we referring to? Because agriculture, when I get out of my house as a smallholder farmer growing some food crop on a quarter of a hectare, and I do that essentially for nothing more than food in my stomach, then we need to do something, because we even have had policies that sustained that kind of farming, where you're giving people 1 bag of fertilizer for a loan, 10 kg bag of seed, then there's no commercial value in that process. Yeah. And in fact, even for their own, it will not feed the family of 5, 6 all year round. So what I'm saying is that we need to come back to appreciating why agriculture, what is agriculture, and the contribution to the GDP is important in terms of value addition and government fiscals. But we have to start at the level where, how do we cultivate the energy of the populations? Is agriculture versus food in the stomach, that's okay. And you don't have to be a farmer in the first place. But we need to feed, and feed diet, nutritious foods, that's one, that's true. But the other key where we need, in fact, more energy is agriculture as a source of income, real commercial employment and entrepreneurship for our population.
This calls for a kind of transformation and change of mindset in the farming industry as a whole. And this is not new, because in 2014, in the Malabo Declaration, they were already talking of the transformation of agriculture and make it a real engine for development. Yeah. How did they envision that transformation, which would be generated by the Malabo Declaration and all those commitments?
There was mention of transformation in Malabo Declaration in 2014. And I think that I must hail that bold step to think about African agriculture from a lens of transformation. Indeed, I think as a political statement that pointed in the right direction. But transformation has to be intentional. It has to be followed by action. I think the Malabo Declaration is on paper very, very clear. And what needed to be followed is walking that talk. The leadership of African countries needed to follow through when they go at country level to see that appropriate allocations, if not even in just one fell swoop, even if it is a graduated one, are committed towards the direction of Malabo Declaration.
What do you think are the main reasons then that the implementation did not follow, the targets are not being seen to happen in 2025 as it was envisioned? What do you think could be the key factors?
We do know that 20, 30 years before, we've made the same pronouncements. We have had CADAP was in 2003. Before that, 2001, the NEPAD vision was also very clear on agriculture. There has been the Abuja Summit in 2006 on food security. And these have been very, very clear on what we need to do as a continent in terms of bringing agriculture to the level, and this is transformation, to the level where productivity into the food basket is able to feed the continent and even export. And from the agroecological point of view, we can do that 100 times over as a continent. We have agriculture where it's also a source of income, and I talk about employment, entrepreneurship for our people. We also are able to do that in the manner that is consistent with the environment, with climate, and all those factors. And therefore, as you are saying, the question becomes a different one. Why is what we know so well needs to happen is not happening?
Is not happening. We will take a pause and a break, and when we come back, we will see the key factors which could probably unlock the potential and see that all those political commitments could be implemented.